My name is Rico, the Dungeon Master for Season 3, the restoration of the 12 Olympians. This season, we'll find our heroes traveling back to the lands of Eris and Enyo within Harmonia, as they adventure through and see what they have accomplished and completed by restoring the 3 fabled relics, the Sickle of Kronos, the Golden Apple of Discord, and the Robe and Necklace of Harmonia. We'll start with Deborah.
I am Deborah, and I am playing a human rogue named Neith. Her name is Neith.
And I'm Matt, playing a dragonborn monk named Ari Futan.
And I'm Daphne, and I play Gilcyra Venfire, who is a halfling druid.
And my name is Rico. I am the Dungeon Master for Season 3 of the campaign.
We don't do pre-roll anymore.
You don't do pre-roll anymore.
Who's ready for...
Deborah's Diary.
Dear Diary, in our last episode, Neith sent a gentle breeze over Apollo with the sickle, because for some reason she was just having a real hard time hitting him. Gilcyra, however, slowly slid the javelin into his eye. Neith finally hits Apollo after, he's just completely, what's the word?
Out of HP.
Incapacitated.
Stunned.
Ari kills Apollo. We all had a piece in that. That's cool. And Apollo's horses begin to crumble. Neith decapitates him to get a little piece of his soul. And the volcano starts to rumble. They run and find Perry and then cut through space and time to Kronos' farm. Perry had been slaying golems. Still slaying golems.
Living his best life.
Electo is excited to see Ari.
Of course. Who isn't?
Dolos sees Neith. Maybe he was excited too. Ari decided to rename his new shield.
Hell yeah.
Decided to name it Shadow Subjugation.
Shieldy McShieldface.
That tracks. And they had a feast where everyone was there.
What kind of feast?
A hero's feast.
Beautiful.
At the end of it, though, Neith had to hand over the sickle to Kronos, who used it to cut off his chain. And then the heroes learn of the locations of 2 other titans that they may decide to free at least one in order to help them on their conquest to Mount Olympus. Let's see what our heroes decide to do in this episode of Some Would Play.
We should probably definitely go after the one that's performing an important function of holding the earth up. So be like, nah, you could drop this fucking ball. Come with us.
Was it the next morning? Was it the next morning? No, it was the next morning.
Next morning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Screen wipe.
So everybody has had their breakfast. Everybody that was there when you guys defeated Apollo are still there, also enjoying their breakfast. And Kronos wants to free these 2 titans as expeditiously as possible. So he is going to send 2 parties, one for Gaia, one for Apollo. And he asks you 4 and your god patrons which you would prefer to go rescue. You don't have to rescue both, but you guys will need to rescue one.
What, Gaia and who else?
Atlas.
Atlas.
Thank you.
Not Apollo.
Thank you.
Who
Did I say Apollo?
You
Yeah.
did, but that's okay.
Oh,
I knew what you meant.
my bad. I totally meant Atlas. Gaia and Atlas.
Let's see.
So-
What do we think? Gaia? Because she's probably hot, right? Gaia's a lady, right? Lady
Don't
Titan.
let
Yep.
Electo hear that.
She's basically the embodiment of the earth.
Well, that's
primordial.
cool. And Atlas, I mean, it sounds like he's in outer space, so probably hard to reach.
Cronus, isn't Gaia your mom?
She is. Which is why I'm going to free her.
Okay.
Well, maybe we should go help get Atlas then. I feel like if Kronos is involved, he's probably got it on lock.
Well, I mean, half of them are going to go for Atlas, half of them are going to go for Gaia. It doesn't matter. There's going to be an army of gods going to either one.
What do you guys have a preference?
Aries, what do you think?
I want to go where there's going to be the biggest fight. And I don't think there's going to be a big fight in outer space.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know,
That's a good point.
they could have aliens and lasers.
What's a laser?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But just I speak when the words flow through me.
That weird little ghost thing on your shoulder, that's what's speaking through you?
So you guys are feeling like Gaia then?
Sure.
Yeah, what's free Gaia?
Keeps us on the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's do that.
You guys don't want to go out into the cold vacuum of space?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with vacuums.
I don't have a spell of space breathing.
About to say,
Oh shit, I might have that spell.
I mean, 2 of you have to breathe, right?
I think I have to breathe.
You
I
think
have
you
to
have
breathe.
to breathe? Oh, okay. All 3 of you have to breathe.
I can.
mean, yeah.
I
Yeah, I
have a
think I
spell
breathe.
to let me breathe underwater, but
I
not
just
outer
don't
space.
age, but I still die.
Oh, okay.
I'll just look like this until I die.
He's just going to fall over one day. Nobody will even notice. They'll be like, I thought he was so young.
So Martel and Pan are going to go with Bahamut and Aphrodite, and half of the gods to go free Atlas. Gelsira and Ares.
Nice.
Neith and Hephaestus. Sorry, Ari and Hephaestus. Neith and Athena. And Hades. You guys are going to go free Gaia. Everybody else is going to go free Atlas. So the Atlas party separates itself from the...
Electo coming with us?
Yeah, Electo's coming with you. Yeah, sorry. Oh, and Dolos is coming. And Perry is
Electo.
coming.
Nice.
God damn, that's great. I'm
We're
glad I
like
clarified.
Dream
Perry.
team.
Hold on here. And Ares. Okay. I think I got everyone of note. Kronos too, right?
We have a large party.
Yeah, that's good though. But I think, I'm trying to keep track of, make sure I know what's going on here.
So you
Dolos.
3, your patrons,
Beautiful.
and your love interest, and Kronos and Hades.
Hades, I got. Yep. Beautiful. Notes are taken.
So where is Gaia?
So Gaia is in a mountain, that mountain, and he points with his sickle. And as he points with his sickle, there is this zoom effect
Fuck yeah.
in space where you see a mountain way off in the distance from where you are at on his farm. It looks like a little speck. But when he points, there's a zoom in effect where space and time, it'd be like traveling across space in the Dune series where you don't actually move through the space and distance. They just fold it all together and you're there. And then you can see this big, giant, huge mountain. And flying around it are gargoyles and wyverns and dragons. And up on the cliff faces, there are minotaurs, and there are ogres, and there are trolls. And it looks like a big, huge, giant fucking mountain that is just riddled with any very high challenge rating monster that could be thrown at you guys. At least from what you can see on the outside.
And we've teleported.
No,
Right?
he would zoomed in so you could see it. All like you aren't there
Oh, okay.
yet. He was just showing you guys where she is.
Okay.
And he says she is in that mountain.
Well, is everybody ready?
Should we blow up the mountain?
Are you going to
I hadn't considered blowing up the whole mountain.
I mean, Gaia would survive, right? It's primordial.
Absolutely. I mean, she's inside the mountain.
Right.
And we could explode it outwards, I suppose.
I wonder if we could pull that off. Could superheat the rock, then cool it.
We know an alchemist.
The rocks would explode. But we really want a big explosion to take out all those scary-ass monsters.
And you want it to explode from the inside out.
So it shoots
Not from the
shrapnel
outside in.
into the dragons and gargoyles
Can you
and shit.
cut a hole through space and time into the mountain?
Oh, yeah. Getting into the mountain's no problem.
Okay. Is the mountain hollow?
I don't know. I've never been inside of the mountain.
Because that could be a problem for us if it's not.
So the conventional plan would be the traditional, lowest hanging fruit plan would be straightforward, go fight all the damn monsters and then free Gaia.
Or look for a way in.
Yeah, seems
without fighting any of the monsters.
Yeah, that would probably be the upgraded plan, is to not fight the monsters and get in, get Gaia, and get out without ever having to fight a monster. That would be the ideal plan.
But I also like the idea of blowing up the mountain.
That is,
Ares,
like
Ares is in our party, and Ares isn't really one for stealth.
Well,
Sorry.
what's Ares think? How you feeling, Ares?
I feel like
Being the decoy
we could
that fights all the monsters.
punch a hole into the mountain, implant some sort of giant explosive,
Yes.
and then sit back and watch the party as it explodes.
Yes.
That's what I feel like doing.
Well,
Would somebody have to explode it, like detonate it there? Or would we have time to, I don't know, get back?
Oh, I don't know.
You're overthinking it.
Hephaestus? I could come up with an improvised explosive.
okay. Well, all right. Well, as long as Ares is on board with the blow up the mountain plan, I think that's a fun plan, right?
Imagine all of the shrapnel
Yes.
and rock
gotta
and molten rock that we're going to rain on the monsters on the mountain.
Pretty happy I have the shield.
It would be an apocalyptic event to behold.
Yeah.
You're
absolutely.
very good at apocalyptic events, right?
She is.
Oh, yeah, you are.
She is. You're correct.
It started out as a prank, and then kind of.
Now you have your own day.
Yep.
Just pranking every city you go to. Death and destruction. Ares is a real big fan. Okay, so do we snake our way there, or should we, fly over there and then come up with an
Hole in
improvised
space and
explosion?
time?
Like,
We're
do we
not
want to?
flying anywhere?
Do
Here's
we-
what we should do.
Do we need materials for
Says
this bomb?
Kronos. Here's what we should do. Ares and Hephaestus and you guys all go to Hephaestus's workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Come up with some sort of explosive device that will level a mountain. I will worry about carving a hole into the mountain so we can get the explosive into it. And Hephaestus grins because he's never made a giant mountain leveling explosive before. And he likes the sound of that idea.
Oh, boy.
I also am excited by it. So let's
Plus,
do
you
this
have
thing.
a dragon there, and I'm sure would be happy to see you.
Yeah,
Karga.
for sure. Yeah, go see Karga. See that fire, dragon fire forge.
So that's the plan. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to take a nap. And Kronos goes into his house, shuts the door, and is just going to lay down and take a nap.
Sweet dreams, Dad.
So
We fuck off with Hephaestus.
Gelsira and Ares and Hephaestus and Ari and Neith and Dolos and Artemis. Artemis?
Athena.
Athena. Thank you.
Same thing.
Are all going to take a trip to Hephaestus's forge. Oh, yeah, and Alecto. Alecto's going to go
And
too.
Perry.
There enough room for all of them?
Oh, yeah, Perry's going to go too.
Hell yeah, man! It's this magic space.
We all get there and we're just like all squeaked.
No, there is definitely room for everybody.
He's got a dragon fire forge. You need a big space for that.
I think it'd be funny
Karga
if
ain't
they were all
tiny
squished.
forever.
And
Karga's probably real big.
Hephaestus asks if everyone is ready. Hades isn't going to come. They have no interest in going to see Hephaestus's forge. They've seen it before. It's boring to them.
That tracks. Very normal.
And then Hephaestus asks you all if you all are ready. 3, 6, all 9 of you, 8 of you, plus him to make 9, are ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready. Ready whenever you are, boss.
Joey's ready.
And then he looks up into the sky towards the direction of the rising sun, and he snaps his finger, and there is a chiming sound of what sounds like a triangle, not a cowbell, a triangle, high-pitched, hollow, ringing sound. And then a giant rainbow erupts from the ground at his feet, going up towards the direction of the sun. And if you could look at the sun, you would see a rather large black opening spot in the sun.
Nice. Dude's going into the sun.
Yes, my forge is in the sun.
We're going into the sun.
And then Hephaestus steps on the rainbow-looking bridge, and like a slow-moving escalator at the airport, he's just riding it up towards the sun.
Love it.
Oh, and he looks back and says, hop on.
Yeah, I get on. I'm into it. I'm into being in the sun.
I feel kind of weird about it, but I just trust it and I hop on.
It feels solid.
I'm in
It is a bridge of light that feels solid.
But it's moving them like an escalator.
It's moving like one of those slow-moving airport ground escalator
Walkways.
movers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, people movers.
We got time.
Except it's angling upwards towards the direction of the sun.
I'm
All
looking
right.
down at Cronus' farm as I'm going up.
Oh no, you don't get to look down very long because as soon as you step on the mover, the Rainbow Bridge mover, you are zooming. You guys have all seen Star Wars, right? When the Millennium Falcon goes into warp speed, into hyperdrive, and all the stars and stuff elongate. That's what it looks like when you guys step on this bridge. Like, when you weren't on the bridge and Hephaestus was on it, it looked like he was moving very, very slow. But the speed at which he was going, the light of his visit, like the light of his form of body was still there, but he was gone. And then you guys all zoom through... or up through the atmosphere, up out of the bulk of the land. You can see the shape of the planet around you. All of the stars are elongated. You can feel like air brushing through your hair. If you have long hair, it's blowing in the wind. Perry has his head.
I feel like you should like morph into like a horse or something. Like something with like long flowing locks.
Perry has his head off the, like his body's on the Rainbow Bridge, but it's off the side, and he's got his tongue hanging out his mouth, like he's a dog in a car ride. And you guys zip closer to the sun into this big black triangular opening, like you see the big giant burning ball that is the sun, and you guys go right in through the opening. You don't
This is a
feel
very
any.
Pink Floyd moment.
Oh yeah, like going through Prism or something. I hadn't connected that. Oh, now it's not as fun for me.
Way to go, Deborah.
Sorry.
It's okay. And
I thought maybe that's where you got the inspiration.
no, it wasn't. But you guys get inside this hole, this pocket within the sun, and it is, oh gosh, incredibly, very, very hot. And you guys start to, you two specifically, start to feel the overbearing and overwhelming heat that is the energy of the sun being inside of it. You are immune to fire damage, so you don't notice the heat whatsoever.
I wild shape into fire elemental.
Oh, there we go. So now you are feeling the intense, oppressive heat of the sun, like it's starting to cook you. And then
Guys.
Athena waves her hands over you, and then there is a shimmery blue aura that surrounds you, and it feels like you are under the cooling, rushing effects of a waterfall.
Ooh.
Which,
Nice.
against the heat of a burning star, you feel pretty normal. But
Get used to this.
all your armor is starting to like steam and smoke because of the heat. It won't be destroyed. It's just from sweat and stuff leaving your body.
Okay.
But you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And you see a big, giant furnace that is probably about 3 stories tall. There is molten slag all around it. There are people, by people I mean dwarves, that are moving slag and iron and silver, like they're pouring it into the forge and pouring it out of the forge and into molds. And sitting back probably about 30 feet away from the forge, blowing fire onto the forge, is a big, giant 50-foot tall black dragon.
Nice.
You guys Ari would especially immediately know that looks a lot like Karga.
Garga!
And then Karga hears his name, and he looks up at you, and he stops blowing fire, and then he jumps down from his perch onto the cobblestone floor. There is a rumble and a shake as the forge shakes, and like dust and rocks and stuff fall. And he bounds over to you like a big puppy dog, like front feet, back feet, front feet, back feet, and like jumps onto you because, I mean,
He was used to being smaller with
yeah,
it, right?
he's used to being small. So he like jumps on you and knocks you over as like one big giant dragon claws like pins you into the ground. Like the claws are buried into the cobblestone, and like your head is like peeking out like through his index and middle finger, and you got one arm between his, the middle finger and the index finger of the claw, and you got one leg hanging out between the thumb and the index finger. And he's licking you, and in his excitement, he's blowing fire on you. A little bit here and a little bit there, mostly smoke. He's just overwhelmed to see you. And then he lets go of you and he runs around all of you in a big giant circle. You can feel the rumble in the floor as a big giant dragon is running around you guys. And then he lays down and puts his head down low so you guys could like pet or scratch or whatever, ride on his back if you wanted to.
I go hug his head and say, "How have you been, buddy? How's it going here? You liking it? You good?"
This is the best fun I have had in my short life.
Well, I'm glad to hear that then. I'm so happy for you, and I'm glad you're having such a good time here.
This is fantastic.
I'm
I love
scratching
that.
behind his ear.
I'm so happy to see you again.
And then he'll lean into the scratch behind the ear, and he says, "I'm surprised you three are still alive.
Oh, yeah, we're crazy.
I figured
Reckless.
you
We
would have
died a
been
few
dead."
times.
Oh, we've
You
been
did die.
Mm-hmm.
we done been doing that, yeah.
How'd you come back?
Hades.
Hades.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're gonna go kill Zeus.
Are you?
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah. Yes.
And then Cargo looks up to Hephaestus, like with a look of longing in his eyes, and Hephaestus sighs and resigns and says, "Yes, you can come." And then Cargo gets really, really excited because he's never gone to kill a god. The only gods he knows are Hephaestus, who's always been nice to him.
What kind of dragon is he again?
He was, God, Deborah, Cargo was a little tiny bronze drake, wasn't he? Bronze dragon?
Yeah. That's how he started off. And
Yeah.
then
Like
he switched at some point.
Yeah, he
Gold-
did.
a
I feel
gold
like he
dragon,
did
or-
switch it sometime.
he got sexy.
Because remember, he grew or whatever when he was over in the other part when we
Yeah.
were still going after the
The Sickle.
lich.
Yeah.
The lich dude.
Oh, and his scales changed colors as he got bigger. I remember.
Yeah.
He's whatever you say.
He's
he is.
evolved.
Yeah, he's evolved. And with the magic of the gods, he can
Forged in the
He can do
fire.
whatever he
of
wants
the
turn
to
sun.
into whatever
Yeah.
Hephaestus needs him for at the time.
Yeah, I mean he's the new sun god.
No, the forge is just in the sun. They're already, actually, hold on. There is no sun god anymore. So there will need to be a new one.
Applications open. Come on, Cargo. We'll give you a reference. Good reference.
There will need to be a new one.
Here, just sign here. We'll submit for you.
And Karga says, what are we building? What do we need? How can I help? And Hephaestus says, I am glad you asked. We need to build a giant explosive.
Yeah.
And Harry says, it needs to be a mountain leveling explosive.
Yes, mountain in literal sense. It's got to destroy a mountain.
And Hephaestus says, yes, it does need to be. And all the dwarves stop with what they're doing, and they all begin murmuring and speaking to themselves because they're trying to think
Full erections.
of the best reactive metal that can be put in a casing with the energy and the fire of the sun, and it will survive the trip down to the mountain and not explode in your guys' hands. And Hephaestus says, I've got to get to work. You guys hang out for a little bit. Ares, you come with me. Karga, we won't need you for this. And Karga says, great, that's good, because I can't produce sunfire. And Karga's already on the same wavelength with Hephaestus, thinking what they'll need to harness and how they'll need to harness this big, giant, atomic bomb-like explosive, because it's what it's going to take to level this mountain. And Perry is walking around, looking at all of the tools. There are massive blacksmith tools here, like big, giant hammers, like bigger than any of these dwarves and bigger than what would be used by any of you guys. There are tongs. There are giant, massive anvils. All of these tools look way too big for the people that are here now, even bigger than what the gods look like now. but that doesn't mean they can't wield them because the gods can change. Well, Hephaestus can change whatever size he needs to work the forge and whatever he's going to magic. And so him and Ares go off to a corner of the workshop and start pulling out like mithril and quicksilver and steel and bronze, just looking for the strongest casing that can presumably hold a small portion of the sun to blow up a mountain. And Cargo wants to know if you guys need anything to eat or if you want to walk around the forge or...
Yeah, what do you eat on the sun, in the sun?
Oh, well, whatever I want.
What's available?
Yeah, bananas?
There are bananas. Do you want some bananas? We can get bananas.
Yeah, let's have some bananas.
Okay, I'll show you where I eat.
Cool.
So Karga gets up, big, huge, 50-fucking-foot dragon, gets up and turns and walks to a hallway the opposite direction away from Ares and Hephaestus, and into a big, huge dining hall. There's big, massive table. You see some dwarves sitting and eating there. And along the far end of the wall, there are like square wooden boxes. There are like oat and grain bags that are opened. And as they're reaching in, the people, they're just grabbing. I mean, one person reaches in and grabs out a leg of like mutton or ham. Another person grabs into the very same box and pulls out, you know, some bread and some mead. And then another person reaches into the bag and pulls out like some fresh lettuce and some leeks. Another person reaches into the same bag and pulls out a completely different vegetable. So the boxes look like, from what you've observed, contain proteins, and the grain bags would contain like your vegetables and your leafy greens.
And bread?
Yes. And Karga says, we just get whatever we want. We go over to one of those things,
Sandwich time.
pull out what we're hungry for, and out it comes. And then Karga goes over to one of the boxes, puts his big, huge dragon head into, like, fully into the box, and then comes back up, and he's got 2 goats and a sheep, like, in his mouth that are bleeding and baying as he, like, crunches down on them, and, like, blood and sinew, like, drip from his mouth, and he tilts his head back and just swallows it down like a snake would choke down, like, an egg or a muskrat or something. And then he looks over with his mouth still full of flesh and blood and says, if you guys are hungry, you know, you can come get whatever you want.
Got it.
And then he puts his head back in, and then you hear him grumble a little bit, and you hear, and then he pulls his head back out, and he's got a big, huge fucking bovine, like a big, huge fucking cow, like one of those long-haired, our Irish or Scottish
Oh,
cows.
yeah. Those
Yeah,
ones.
he pulls out one of those, and he fucking
Weird fuckers.
slings his head around to snap its neck and break its bones, and then he spits it onto the floor and digs into it.
Likes the hairy cow, huh?
I mean, it's just what he was in the mood for.
I guess. All that hair, though. Oh,
I mean, he'll digest it.
it'll get singed by the fire, and oof, that's an acrid smell.
I mean, he works at a Forge of the Gods. There are a bunch of smells here.
All right, I pop over and grab some bread, some vegetables, some roast pork, make a sandwich,
Nice.
a hearty sandwich.
Nice.
Have me a sandwich.
I get some bread, some leeks, some cheese, some onions, some roasted duck,
Ooh, that sounds good.
and then
There are condiments on the table should you need them as well.
I make a big stew out of it,
Okay.
and I
The
put
stew cooks relatively quick. You could have just pulled out a pot of stew.
where's the fun of that?
I mean,
It sounded like everything was raw that was coming out. So.
no, it's whatever you want.
Yeah,
you
it's
just
whatever
reach
you
in and
want.
grab whatever you want.
But then I sprinkle salt and pepper into it, and
The salt is like MSG. It's like salt on crack.
Nice.
Super salt.
and
Super
then I
salt.
also I take some ramen out. I put the ramen in there.
You guys see her pull out you guys like noodles, like a big old chunk of noodles.
No, I
Yeah.
know, but like, where would you have encountered ramen in this D&D world?
Didn't you eat at a noodle house where
yep.
the brothers like stole your
Ethereum.
guys' money in,
Ethereum.
in Deborah's campaign?
That's
Or no, it
true.
was my campaign.
Yeah, I was at Ethereum
Yeah.
on the Zeus side.
Yep. Yeah, so she's you guys have
remember
definitely
I
encountered
love how you
noodles
remember
before.
every detail of that. Yes, if it
it's
involved
food, I
food,
remember. Yep.
you remember.
You don't have to eat, but if you're hungry, it is there.
I hesitantly kind of put my fingers in one of the bags and see if I can pull out just like a cup of tea.
You pull out a cup of tea from the bag?
Can I do that?
You can pull out tea leaves from the bag.
I've got some tea leaves. See?
Just eat them. Same diff.
You could have had soup. I get
Well,
tea
you should
leaves.
have asked for tea soup.
Do I see any water anywhere?
Yeah, you see a big old trough that looks like it would hold liquids.
That hopefully no one peed in.
No one pees in the trough. You see dwarves pulling out mugs of ale. You see them pulling out glasses of wine.
All right, then.
You see them pulling out water skins. You see them pulling out wines. Like they're just
I
dipping
get
their
it
glass
now.
into it and it's coming out
Okay.
with whatever liquid that they want.
Nice.
All right. Is there like some cups or something?
All on the table.
All right.
And as people take cups, that they pull them and then another one appears in its place.
Nice.
All right. I take one. I go over to the trough and hoping for some tea.
Tea?
Yes.
Hot tea? Cold tea?
Cold tea.
You get a glass, mug, goblet. What kind of
A mug,
drinking?
yeah.
A mug. You pull out a mug
Sack.
with a green tea with floating cubes of ice in it.
Ooh.
And you can see, like, because it's hot in here, the ice is steaming. But if you put your finger in the cup of tea, it is very cold iced tea, like 34-degree green tea.
Nice.
And now you've got extra tea leaves you can just put in your pocket.
And now I've got extra tea leaves.
Pocket leaves.
I grab a mug from the table and I go over and I want to get some coffee, some really piping hot coffee.
And you do. You pull out some piping hot black coffee.
Nice.
Smells like hazelnut.
Ooh.
And behind you on the table, there are little creamer cups and sugar cups. And you could think of what kind of creamer you wanted, goat milk or cow milk or dragon milk or saber-tooth tiger milk or, anything with a nipple that produces milk.
Evidently almonds,
Almonds don't have nipples. Don't be
Coconuts.
silly. You can get coconut water. I guess you could get coconut milk because that's just water strained through the fruit of the inside of the coconut. So you could get coconut milk if you wanted.
I'm going to go get dragon milk.
And you do.
And hopefully it's not jizz.
It's not. It's dragon milk. And Karga comes over with you and says, dragon milk is some of the best milk.
I believe it.
And he puts his head all the way into the trough. It disappears into the negative space of the trough. And he pulls his head out, and there's like dragon milk that's dripping from his lips and jowls as he guzzles down gallons and gallons of dragon's milk.
This place is made for him.
I mean, this is a magical forge of the gods with workers that work all day and all night. So
Karga's world, we're just living in it.
I mean,
Pretty much.
it's Hephaestus' world.
Nope, it's Karga's now. That's canon.
All right,
Giving Karga to Hephaestus was probably the best thing for that dragon.
I drink some dragon's milk.
And it is sweet. It's sweet like goat's milk, but not as pungent and tangy as goat's milk. Imagine goat's milk being good and just all sweet.
Love it.
I'm still a little hungry, so I reach back into the barrel and I get some bruschetta and some salmon. And then I
That sounds good.
Some bird shit.
Bruschetta.
bruschetta, yeah, and some salmon and
You
like
could put that on some toast or
Yeah.
bagel.
Shit, get avocado toast.
yep.
You could get avocado toast all out of the grain bag.
I do that.
I was going to get some eggnog, but I don't think I've encountered eggnog.
Oh, and I get some more coffee too. And then I decided to try it with the dragon's milk.
It's delicious. This is the best cup of coffee you've ever. It is the most neutral cup of coffee you've ever had. It doesn't taste like coffee, and it's not overly sweet from the dragon's milk. It is a perfectly neutral cup of coffee with just a little hint of sweet.
Nice. I drank like 4 of those mugs.
Nice.
I give Karga some magic mushrooms.
And he eats them. And he loves them. And he tells you, these would be better if you cooked them.
Oh, yeah, we've cooked them before, haven't we?
Yeah. Did you not know these tasted better if you cooked them?
No, I mean, they taste great now.
They taste better if you cook them.
Well, I mean, they taste like whatever you want them to taste like. So, cooked whatever you want them to taste like.
And then he spits one back into your hand. It's all slobbery from...
Love
And then
it.
he blows fire on it. right all over your hand,
Yeah.
which, I mean, doesn't hurt you. You're fine. And then it's like a perfectly toasted mushroom on all sides. It's like browned and golden and crunchy on the outside and nice and soft on the inside.
I eat it.
And it tastes like the best hot home cooked dish that you have ever experienced times 5, including drinks and dessert.
Oh, wow. You were right.
It's like Willy Wonka's Willy Wonka's dinner gum from the original Willy Wonka, where Violet turned into a big old blueberry. But it tastes like a full 3-course hot dinner with drink and beverage and sides.
All right, champ.
And it's really, really good.
Well, thanks for that helpful tip.
Yep. I mean, you already know they tasted better cooked.
Oh, yeah. I just,
Forgot.
convenience.
They are super convenient. And your belly, you feel full. You feel super full because you had food on top of that mushroom.
Now, what are we here for again? Oh, right. Yeah.
Explosives.
That's right.
And you guys hear Hephaestus and Ares in the other room yell out huzzah and eureka really, really loud. And then you guys hear a rather large explosion that rocks and shakes the whole room and the whole forge that you're in. If you were outside, you would see a solar flare.
Love that.
That swirls and dissipates into space. And they think, well, you don't know what they think. You haven't gone out there, but there was a big, giant, massive explosion after they yelled huzzah.
Hey,
Like
Karga.
they discovered something. Yes.
Do you guys so this is a forge, so do you make like weapons and armor here? Or what kind of stuff do you make? Do you have a room where you keep all the stuff you make? I'd love to see it.
I mean, there's a vault where stuff is held. Yeah.
Are we allowed to see it? I'm not going to take anything.
Yeah,
I just want
mean,
to see like your
I'm
cool,
sure.
your
I'm sure
dope
you
ass
could.
work.
You'd have to ask Hephaestus, but I wouldn't have
okay.
a problem with it.
Well, that's fine. I
But
want
he
to.
probably wouldn't care. You're his favorite anyway.
I was hoping there was like just like shields strewn about and swords that we could just like look at,
Yeah,
But if
sure
we're
are.
keeping them
Just don't
organized
look
in a
at.
vault, I guess.
There sure are. Plenty.
Well, yeah, I was interested in what's going on in the forge, And I've never been in a sun forge before. I'd love to see the stuff made here. I don't want to take any of it or anything goofy like that.
Oh, I mean,
I'm
you
just
couldn't
curious
get it out
about
of here
seeing
even
it.
if you wanted.
Right,
You could absolutely go see it.
I just thought it'd be, what
If Hephaestus says you can.
dope
Yeah,
ass
we can
shit
get you
is
in
made
the vault.
in a fucking sun forge. Let's go, How many opportunities we going to get to see the sun forge?
I mean, you could stay here if you
I was
want.
hoping these jokers would take a little bit longer to make a bomb.
You could stay here if you want. You just have to ask Hephaestus.
Well, I didn't
I'm
know
sure
we
he'd let
got
you stay.
we got work to do. We got to kill gods and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Free up a Gaia,
Oh, that'll be fun.
which is what we're doing, by the way. I mean, you knew we're blowing up a mountain, but
We can go check on the status of their explosive.
yeah,
if you
we
want.
probably should. Sounds like they're making progress.
And then he dips back into
Playtime is over.
the trough one whole time, his big whole head, and he comes out with big, like, cold water. Like you could get a little splashed on you from when he comes back up, and it is ice cold water.
Love it. I want to dip my mug in and see if I get ambrosia.
Yes,
Like-
you do.
I take a sip. Is
It's
it
not
good
the
stuff?
gross, disgusting Hades ambrosia. It's like really good ambrosia.
Love it.
I want to surreptitiously
Bless you.
see what Hephaestus and Ares are doing, but I just want to take a peek. I don't want them to see me, or I don't want to get in their way.
Okay. Well, Karga's going to leave the dining hall and go right up and walk right up to them.
Oh,
okay.
And then he's going to like sit down on his back legs and
You
then
should-
stand up like a dog would and then put his big ass neck and head like over their shoulders
you should
to see
still
what
try
they're
to
doing.
stealth it. See if they'll kill you. Hades didn't come with. All right, so let's go check out Hephaestus and Ares.
Are you going to go with him?
See,
Yes.
what up, dogs? I heard an explosion. I heard you like explosions.
So you guys go over. You can't see whatever they've created or what they're working on very well because there's a big ass 50-foot dragon in front of you as he's directly behind them with his big neck and looking over and seeing what they're doing. So you guys would have to like scooter around him like 10 to 15 feet to unoccupy the space he's taking up to see what they're working on. And as you're looking around, Ari, you see a bunch of dwarves moving pulleys and levers and dropping some sort of very bright, shiny metal into the forge. And then others like working big, huge bellows as whatever that shine, like those chunks and squares of big shiny metal are turning into like liquid molten slag that are coming out of the other end of the forge. And they're pouring it into like a casing of some such. Like there's 4 or 5 different molds that this liquid metal is being poured into.
Fucking bombs.
Or at least the casings for a bomb. Some sort of magic metal that can hold presumably a portion of the sun's power.
Geneva Convention stuff.
Yeah, it's only a war crime the first time you do it.
That's right.
Every other time after that, it's illegal. The first one's free. That's how war crimes work, right? They're not crimes until they've already been perpetrated.
I don't think they're crimes ever. I don't think
Because
there's any
there's not
consequence to
anybody-
committing war crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It turns out you can just do war crimes, and they, the UN's like, "Hey, stop that," and you could just keep doing it.
Yep.
No
they're
problem.
gonna be
Who's on the board of war crimes? How do I get on that
No
board?
fucking problem. It's a very good system we have. Very good.
And from what you guys can so far see, you see a cube that's hollow, made out of bright silver starlight that is containing a bright orange moving circle of some such that's like straining against the hypercube of starlight. It looks like it's trying to escape, but whatever this super three-dimensional hypercube is of silver starlight is keeping it in place. And you can feel the heat radiating off of not only the three-dimensional cube. You guys know what a three-dimensional cube looks like that's hollowed, right? We used to draw them
Yeah.
on paper all the time in middle school and high school, like a hypercube.
Yep.
And then there's just the pulsating orange mass of something in the center that's like trying to escape, but it's being held in place.
I walk up to Ares and Hephaestus and I say, "Whoa, is that a mini sun?"
It is. It's the energy
Nice.
of a mini sun
Well done. How are you keeping it in that box?
with starlight.
Nice.
So, have we thought about detonation?
Yes, we're definitely going to do it, Ares
Yes,
says.
correct.
So, I had a thought.
Yeah.
So,
Did you not want to do it?
no, who's putting the hole in the mountain?
Kronos.
Ares and me, says Ares, and Kronos with his sickle.
Because I'm wondering if we even really need to go to the mountain. If you guys can just put the hole in the mountain and we basically just slingshot this thing into the hole, the impact will just go poof, and then we don't have to have any sort of remote detonation.
And then Hephaestus says, I don't think a slingshot would be accurate from where we're at.
We're in the sun.
We're with gods. I've got Athena. I'm sure she's pretty accurate.
I've never shot the energy of a sun before. I could certainly
it
give it a
equal?
try.
That sounds fun.
Well, how many of these can we make?
I mean, as many as there are suns and stars, I presume.
I mean, we don't want to be hitting everything with starlight here.
Ares says, but we could.
Should we
mean,
make
we
a few spares
could.
and
Oh,
do some?
new apocalypse scenario.
Yes.
Jelsira,
Yes.
death
Yeah.
by falling suns. Write that down. Write that down for your next prank.
Write it down.
Okay, new idea. New idea for detonation. Ares makes the hole. We somehow transport. We get Kronos to help us transport through space and time, because he could just cut open the sun cube into said hole, and we can make a special arrow that would be the detonator, and we shoot the arrow into the hole.
Oh. Hephaestus says, I was just going to put it on a timer, but if you want to shoot it, that'd be fun too.
I didn't know you
Yeah,
could make
stop
timers.
overthinking this.
I'm trying to contribute. Or just
And
put it on a timer.
should we make
Athena
extras
says-
of these and maybe have like a trial run where we blow up a different mountain?
Athena says, I've never shot an arrow into the condensed energy of a sun. I would really like that.
Wouldn't it
Let's
be cool?
make some extras then and do a practice run.
That's a good
We
idea.
could blow up-
Ares and Hephaestus and Karga all say in unison.
Yeah, we could blow up a mountain no one cares about. That
Or-
there's nobody living near
I mean,
or anything.
We could just blast one into space and shoot at it and see how big the explosion
Oh,
would get.
Lord.
Are there
Yeah, I
any,
guess we could do
are there any
that.
asteroids?
I mean, no,
Yeah.
but I'm sure someone can create one. And Ares says, oh, yeah, I can create an apocalypse asteroid, no problem. How close or far away does it need to be?
10 feet.
And then Athena says, oh, I don't know, 700 miles? Oh,
Sounds
yeah.
good.
I could create an apocalypse asteroid 700 miles away. How many of these bombs do we need to create? How accurate are you and Athena with your arrows? And Athena says, I can hit the eye of a moth from 10 miles away.
I beat Athena in a hunting contest.
That's true. She did beat me in a hunting contest.
Well, how many of these bombs can we make?
As many as there are stars in the universe.
Well, let's see. So we need one for the mountain that
I mean, we
Gaia's
could
in.
test this one against an apocalypse asteroid and see if it's good, and if not, we can refine it and make it better.
All right, let's do that. I love that idea. Let's be men of action and do the thing.
Now, do we want the asteroid moving to the Earth?
No.
To put some
What?
to put some timing and dread into it?
Yeah.
I like what you're thinking, Ares
Oh,
says to
God.
Gelsira. So we need to create an apocalypse asteroid 700 miles going towards the planet.
You know what? I'm here now, so
Yes.
this is fine.
This is going to be so good. And he goes to high five you. Well, you're tiny, so he picks you up and then goes to high five you.
And then you swing from the momentum.
And I start getting really excited, and I just start
This
dancing
feels
a
like
little
it
bit.
can't end well, but you know what? Chaos.
And then the 5 of the dwarves come over, and they bring over some shiny, lustrous, like metal casings that are like hexagonal. And they give it to Hephaestus, who puts the hexagon shape around the sun nuke, the sun bomb, and tells Karga that he needs to weld these closed so they'll hold the star and the sun energy inside of them. And Karga, who's still looking over the head of Ares and Hephaestus, asks that Hephaestus hold it up to him for, precision welding. And he holds it up to him. And then Karga purses his lips like we would to whistle. And he just blows out a stream of fire with such intensity that it begins to melt the seams of the metal around this hypercube starlight matrix with this glowing orange energy inside of it that's trying to bounce around and escape from this matrix. And welds it nice and tight. Welds it so well that you can't see that there were any cracks within it or that it was ever welded at all. It just looks like one solid hexagon-shaped cylinder. That's all it looks like, of shiny, beautiful metal, which is an incredibly strong, durable mithril that's been processed and refined and made into the purest form. And then Hephaestus says, do you guys have any arrows that can pierce mithril? And Artemis is like, no. Can you make us some?
You mean Athena?
Athena. God, why do I keep saying Artemis? I'm so sorry. Athena says no. And he says, oh, do you, Neith? Do you have any mithril armor piercing arrows?
I don't think my aqua arrows would help, so no.
Not even remotely. They would freeze the minute you shot them into the vacuum of outer space.
No.
To the forge to make mithril piercing arrows.
And here you thought you'd only get to make one thing.
Oh, I'm making the multiple of these bombs are going to be made. At least 2. And then you guys will need at least a quiver of those arrows to try and hit it. So that's what we're going to do.
Yes.
So he gets to crafting some arrows that will be strong enough to pierce through the outer casing of this star bomb. And it takes him maybe like 45 minutes to craft enough arrows, one for you, like a quiver for you, and then a quiver for Athena. And then Ares is just tossing the mithril star bomb up and down in his hand, just catching it.
Oh, of course he is.
And then he tells you to go long, and then he throws it at you like you guys are playing football, except you're a fire elemental.
I wild shape into a giant ape.
Oh, okay. And it is incredibly hot for you as you shift into a giant ape from the flame elemental, like uncomfortably hot. Like if you had skin, it would be getting burned.
I'm too caught up in the moment to really care right now.
All right, so
I'm
you
having
will
too much
take
fun.
1d6 fire damage for every turn that you are wild shaped into an ape. I'll roll the damage, but we'll say for, I don't know, 5 turns, you guys are playing catch with this giant star bomb. And every time you catch it, you can feel the matrix move inside the mithril casing. Like,
Wait, why are you guys playing catch with this?
because it's fun. Why aren't you playing catch with it? And then Ares throws it in your direction.
I catch it.
Nice. And then you catch it. And as you catch it, you can feel the weight shift back towards you as the starlight matrix and the congealed whatever shifts back in your direction.
Neith has a heart attack.
But he catches it. I mean, it's just a big hexagonal mithril case.
And she sits back up, and every time it goes back and forth, she has another heart attack.
I think you'd probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All better.
you're back.
Anyways, so yeah, and then he throws it to you, and you catch it, and it's fun. And now you're holding on to it. And you can throw it back to the big giant ape, or you can throw it back to Ares, or Karga is like, this way, over here.
All right, I throw it to Karga.
And Karga catches it in his mouth.
Love that.
And you hear ka-ting as dragon teeth crunch into mithril. He doesn't put a hole in it or anything because he knows his own strength. He knows how strong mithril is. And then he goes around in a circle and shakes it in his mouth to feel the weight differential as the matrix moves around in the holding cube. And then he tosses it back over to Ares, and Ares catches it, and he says, "This is a good explosive. This is going to be fun." And then Hephaestus comes back with your quiver of arrows for you and for Athena. And then he waves his hand, and then there's a little tiny hole that opens in the roof of the forge. And that little tiny hole goes up, and through the sun into the void of outer space. And he's like, chuck it up that way. Get ready to fire your arrows.
Nice. All right, so
Prepare to fire.
Then Ares chucks it.
So better get ready. Let's go, Chip.
And as he chucks it, you can see a small little glint that appears approximately 700 miles off in that direction. And he says, "There's your apocalypse meteor going towards the planet. Best of luck."
Athena, why don't you go first?
And she's like, no. Why not you? I'll wait.
What?
And then Ares says, "You have about, 45 minutes to get this right before it crashes into the planet and everyone dies."
Oh,
and he goes to give you a high five. And then Ares chuckles, and I presume Neith chuckles, and
Neith does not chuckle.
not Neith, sorry, Jelsira.
I look at my hand and I see it's starting to catch on fire now, and then I'm starting to feel the heat. I'm like, oh, and then I turn back into fire elemental.
Oh, there you go. You're better. You only took six points of fire damage. It's not that big of a deal.
6 lives of fire damage.
6 points of fire damage.
So I take one of the arrows.
Yep.
And I take my longbow.
Yeah.
And I look at Athena and I go, can you bless my bow?
No.
I'll bless it.
Take your shot.
This bow doesn't go 700 miles.
Yeah, but it's not the bow we're depending on. It's the arrows. Just take your shot.
All right.
Right.
And
Talking all
so
that
I
shit.
not you be quiet. I wasn't saying it had to be me. I was just saying we needed a way to detonate it.
You're the one that wanted to shoot an arrow at it to explode it.
All right.
You are the one
I
that brought
knock
up
an
beating
arrow,
Athena in a hunting contest.
And I take aim.
Awfully bold.
All right.
Athena's like, I
Do I
can get a
use
moth
anything
in the
for
eye.
this?
How are you?
No,
I
just
beat Athena.
an attack roll with your bow using your dex modifier and your proficiency.
Plus 50 to hit because of the sun.
Ooh, I rolled a 19.
Hey, nice. Hold that thought. I got to pee.
Super crit. Turns out it's a super crit. You do triple damage. Well, I'm going to refill.
Yes. Okay. I've got a +2 bonus to attack on rolls I make with ranged weapons.
Nice.
'Cause that's the fighting style I took. So, okay. So 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So, yep, 25.
Nice.
That doesn't effing hit.
I mean, you only could have rolled one better.
Oh, and I add my proficiency bonus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 31.
Nice. That's a hit.
That doesn't hit. I will cry. Actually, don't tell him I said that because he'll make it higher.
Just roll again.
You rolled a 19, right?
Yeah, so 31.
31?
Yeah, so I add my dexterity, right?
Yep.
So that's 4, so that's 23,
23. Plus your proficiency modifier.
which is 6.
Yep.
So that's,
that's
29. Plus, I've got my archery fighting style as a ranger, which gives me +2 with ranged
Nice.
weapons.
So 31.
So 31.
So as you aim with your arrow, there is a propulsive explosive force that emanates from the back of the arrow going around you. Your hair is blowing as you feel the force of this energy blowing off of the arrow, and you let it go, and it cuts through the air so fast. There's like, what's that called when something moves faster than the speed of sound?
A
Supersonic.
sonic boom?
Sonic boom. As
Ooh.
there's a sonic boom that emanates from your bow around you and goes around 360 degrees in your direction. I need you and Ari to make a dex save.
Sorry.
Let's see my
What's the dex of a fire elemental?
dex.
It's only 17, so
You're fine.
I only got 8 altogether.
Oh, you only got 8
Because
altogether?
it's +3, and I rolled a 5,
Oh, that's not good.
so I'm in
I got
trouble.
21. Do I need to look
fine.
and see if... Okay.
I'm not fine.
I might have advantage on saving.
So
throws. Just
you
gotta check.
get knocked over on your ass from the force of the wave of the sonic boom.
Ooh.
Half of the dwarves get knocked over on their ass as well as they fail their dex saves. You don't take any damage. It was just to stay on your feet as sound waves explode outward from beneath in 360 degrees, and that arrow flies through that tiny keyhole. And from what you can tell, right at the direction of that apocalyptic asteroid that Ares created, and you see a bright flash as you presume the arrow pierces the mithril casing of the bomb, and there is a big giant supernova that expands outwards in a 360 degree sphere as it's in outer space. And just obliterates the asteroid, like into millions of tiny fragments that are now moving at super speed towards the planet. But the good news is the pieces are so small, they'll burn up in the atmosphere.
Nice.
Phew.
And Ares looks at the explosion and he says, yeah, I think that'll do. And Hephaestus also says, I also think that'll do.
Looks good to me.
Then Athena says, we don't need it to be that powerful to blow up a mountain. And then Ares and Hephaestus sigh, defeated, as they wanted to make it bigger. And they're like,
Are we sure it doesn't need to be that big?
I mean, that was 700 miles away, and we could see the supernova.
That's fair.
So we need to make it about a 16th of the size of the one that we had.
That's a good thing we tested it. Probably would have
That's a
destroyed.
really good thing we tested it. Whose idea was that? Yours? Hephaestus goes to give you a high five.
High five.
Ares goes to give you a high five.
High five.
And then Karga goes to give you a high paw.
High paw.
And he makes you fall backwards. He's a big, giant 50-foot dragon, and you go flying back and
I'm into
roll
it.
backwards. And he doesn't injure you. You're dexterous. You can tumble. That would be an easy.
And I'm
save for you.
smiling and laughing. It's all good.
So they get back to working on one of those exact same bombs, but 16th the size of the one that was made.
We'll see.
So, I mean,
I'll watch these fuckers.
it would be. This is actually a perfect representation. About this big.
Ooh.
Including the mithril casing. It would be about this big.
All right. Yep.
So, like something you can hold, in a couple fingers. Because if that
Easy
one was
transport.
if that one was as big as it was, and you could see it from 700 miles away, the effect of the supernova, that was massive.
You could put something that size in nature's pocket.
Anything's a dilder if you're brave enough.
That's right.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing. So Ari will save that in his jail pocket.
I'm not touching it anymore.
So they defeatedly go to make a smaller one. That's 16th of the size of the one that they did have. But it will work.
Hey, Hephaestus, while you're doing that, is it cool if I check out your vault?
And he says, yeah, that's perfectly fine. Karga can let you in as he goes back to his work, because now he's putting energy in a very, very smaller hypercube. So it's very, very intricate work. Like he's got to have dexterous, nimble fingers. So some of the dwarves with their tinier hands are helping with some of the finer details because they got smaller hands. It's easier for them to work with, smaller materials. And Karga says, you can follow me this way to the vault.
Cool. I follow Karga to the vault. So you guys want to come see what sun-forged weapons and armor looks like?
I follow.
I'm sure it's going to be dope.
Perry follows.
I follow.
You follow. Dolos follows.
Forge tour.
Athena follows. Electo follows.
Nice.
And Karga leads you guys to a big, giant, massive vault door that's probably about 20 feet high. It's arched. It's in all gold and silver. It looks like it has 18 different locks in different parts of the mural that make up the vault door. And on the mural, you see a big, giant mountain with a big, giant bolt of lightning striking the top of it. You see a representation of the sun with the oceans in the background. You see, wings on creatures that are moving, that would appear to be moving at an incredible pace if you had caught like an eagle in like a perfect motion in time with its wings backwards like it was. So it looks like there's a representation of like every single one of the gods of Olympus on this vault door, as he was the armorer for all of them.
It tracks.
Yeah.
It's probably just beautiful, intricate, all that jazz.
Yeah, with like there are 18 locks. There are a total of like 37 holes in the door because some of the locks...
37?
I'm 37? Try not to suck any dick on the way back to the parking lot. Oh, good times. And Karga starts putting his dragon claws into the holes of these locks in a very particular manner.
I was about to say he's going to run out of dragon claws.
No, like he's using his claws as the keys. And he's opening the locks in a very specific order.
I am not watching the order. I
mean, you wouldn't be able to memorize it anyway because he's got two big giant hands, and he can work like on 8 of the locks at the same time.
But I'm doing like I do at work and being very obvious about looking away.
I do that too.
Like, go ahead and put your password in.
Yep.
They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't want to be anywhere near knowing what your fucking password is.
I need to know what your password is, yeah.
I can change it.
I hate when people email their passwords to us.
Oh,
like,
God,
don't do that.
so stupid.
Yeah.
I had a customer who was a teacher at a school. I won't say the name of the school. She emailed me her debit card number when I told her I could run her transaction via debit card because she didn't give me enough cash. And I emailed her back and said, don't ever email your debit card number ever again.
Yep.
Luckily, I work for the state, and she works for a school system, so it's state to state. But still, it's a dumb idea. Do not email your debit card number and expiration date or month and year to anybody ever.
Email is certainly not end-to-end encrypted.
Yeah. So I called her instead and was like, hey, I need your debit card number. And she's like, I emailed it to you. And I was like, I'm not using that. You can give it to me over the phone. And then she realized she'd emailed her debit card number. And she was like, oh, God. And I was like, yeah, you'll be fine. But still, don't do that. So anyways, that's off topic. And he gets the vault open. And as each of the locks open, just like certain bell chimes play, they make beautiful, hollow, ringing, like Christmas bell sounds as each lock opens just in a different tone. And then the doors just slide open. And then you see inside, oh God, an armory of the gods that would be unimaginable to mortal eyes.
Love that.
There are bows and javelin and shields and chariots and armors and different armors for different. There's dragon armor and griffin armor. There's unicorn armor.
Wow.
There's minotaur armor.
I'm just standing there with my jaw on the floor.
And it's gleaming and glowing as the light from the sun is coming down through crystalline like windows. And there's silver and there's gold and there's bronze and there's mithril and there's iron and there's copper. There's fey killing tools. There's, every tool is a mortal killing tool, but there appears to be weapons that would slay gods. There is, chains, like big, huge chains that would be used to, I don't know, subjugate a titan if they needed to be. There is a prototype of a sickle that looks awfully familiar to one that you may or may not have seen before in the past. And there are punching weapons and fist weapons and shin pads and knee pads and spiked flails. There are tridents and there are bidents and there are like quivers of javelin that burn with, tips of fire, tips of ice, tips of starlight that gleam and are really a thing to behold. And that's what you see in this armory.
Beautiful.
And it goes back. Gosh, it's hard to put into perspective how far back the armory goes, but it goes back as far as you can see. And then further still.
I'm overwhelmed with awe and tears are streaming down my face
That was the word I used. I put awe.
as I stare at all the beautiful works of art, weaponry.
I'm imagining like the Sistine Chapel almost
Of weapons. Yeah. Yeah.
Just
That's
an awe-inspiring,
exactly what it's like.
overwhelming.
And there is nothing made out of wood. It's all crafted in some sort of material, like hard rock, mineral or material or something of another. Like there are weapons that are crafted from. Hold on.
Does anybody have a canvas? I must paint this.
Give me nature rolls, all threesies of you.
Sure, why not? I know everything about nature. I'm a nature guy.
Or Arcana, whichever's higher, nature or Arcana.
17.
Yikes. Well, that's a critical
20?
fail.
The twosies of you
Hardcore.
Woo!
can tell that some of these weapons are actually made out of meteorite and maybe some sort of interstellar rock like moon.
I love that for
Like the colors, the deep grays and the metallic veiny, as veins of like silver and metallic and copper go through them, as the starlight from the light outside like twinkles, like on the weapons they twinkle and gleam and react to the light from the sun.
Neef, do you see
Like
that?
there are otherworldly weapons here.
I'm like, Neef, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
That's beautiful.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm like, I wonder, Karga, has any mortals ever been here and seen any of this?
No, you guys would be the first.
Nice.
Wow.
Cargo, what are some of your favorite pieces in here? Do you have any favorites? Does anything like really do it for you, like that
Yes.
you've made or helped make? Or
Yeah, well, there's something I helped make for me that I haven't got to try on yet.
Ooh.
Claws crossed I get to if we're going to go kill a god.
Oh,
But
yeah.
there is a big giant set of dragon armor
Ooh, I
that
was gonna
is
ask.
made out of, what would you call moon rock? Just moon rock.
Yeah.
That
Moon
looks
rock,
like
moonstone.
stone, but has the weight of the lightest elven metal that one's ever imagined. I've never worn it before, and I've been waiting for a reason. I hope I get to.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
And he's like, it's down the hallway about 400 yards off to the right.
Should we go check it out, or
You can if you want to.
do you want to try it on, or?
I've tried it on. It fits.
Oh, all right. Well, you want to put it on now? We can see what you look like.
I
in it?
mean, I'd love to.
Let's do that.
Okay.
It's a fashion show.
All right. And then he starts walking down the hallway,
I follow,
400
yeah.
yards. I mean, his 400 yards to him isn't very long of a walk.
Yeah, I run.
It's like 1,200 feet. but he's 50 foot long. So, I mean, that's like, I don't know. What is that? That's like 26 steps or something for him, something absurd.
Sure.
And so you guys would have to like walk fast or fly or run to keep up with him.
I'm into it.
Get my little boots out.
You guys,
you
guys
fly.
want to see this, right? It's going to be totally cute. I mean, fierce.
I mean, I think it's cute.
Yeah.
Karga says.
It is. I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see.
And he gets to a big, huge opening 400 yards down to the right. And inside, it's probably like 80 feet tall, this room that's housing, other than this set of armor, but like giant dragon gauntlets, much like yours, Matt, that Hephaestus made for you.
Nice.
Except would have room for his big, huge, giant dragon claws, all made out of this like graphite gray material that glitters and sparkles without any additional light, like dancing off of it, like it sparkles on its own. This graphite rock looking material. And it's on a set that has the armor standing like up, straight up, like if Karga were to stand on his back feet and we're standing up straight, not like tail to head, but like back feet to head, which is why it's an 80-foot tall room. But it is not dissimilar to Martell's paladin armor that had the dragon snout to make room for his head. Only there are room for horns, like to come out of the head. There's like 4 spots for horns for Karga to fit his horns in. There is a visor that looks clear for Karga to see out of, but like it's glassed over and gleams like it's glassed over, made out of some shiny quartz, hollow quartz material, like clear quartz material.
Nice.
And like that rock there, but clear. And it is very intricate plate and scale graphite that looks like has plenty of room for movement in the shoulders and the wrist and the arms. And it is a full suit of armor that would encase him 100%. Like there wouldn't be a cinch in his armor. And you can see a seam, if you were to look around it, where it comes in 2 pieces bifurcated, where he would put it on the back and then someone would help the front. Sorry, the tummy would be his front if he's standing up, and somebody would help him put it on his back, and it would perfectly encase him in this armor. And it's just a beautiful, sparkling graphite gray looking rock armor that is presumably as strong as some of the finest metals on Earth or
super
on the
slick.
planet. Yeah.
That's super nice. Can't wait to fight alongside you in it.
Yeah, I hope I get to use it.
We're
That'd
gonna
be fun.
I think, are you gonna come with us to blow up the mountain?
Yes.
Love that.
Yes, I am.
If we get Gaia and we get Atlas, and then we'll go kill Zeus.
Well, all we have to get is Gaia, right?
Yeah, all
Right.
we've got to get is Gaia, but we as an overall group,
Yeah.
the other party also is gonna get Atlas, and then we're gonna fight Zeus. Probably smack Eris around a little. Little smackies. Stop fucking around, crazy lady. That sort of shit.
And Alecto and Dolos are oddly not with you guys. They didn't follow you to Karga's armor room.
Oh, maybe they've seen it before. They've been around a while.
They could be admiring wares that... And if you were to leave and go back, you would actually see Dolos and Alecto like 300 yards back the way you came, just admiring weapons and armor that
They
used.
came to the vault, but
Yeah, they've
didn't
used
come
in
to
the past. Like they have fond memories of some of these weapons that they've actually worked with and spilled blood with. Like they've used this stuff before.
If we weren't at the end of the episode, I'd go back to Alecto and
oh, are we really?
Ask
oh
her
shit,
to-
we sure are. Fuck.
ask her to maybe tell me about some of these pieces she's used and regale me with her stories. Maybe we do that without doing it. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a shame.
Go back
That's
and-
something that you guys can have a conversation about on the next episode of Some Would Play. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Some Would Play, a production of the Outsanity Network. Join us again next week as the story continues. Find us online at www.somewouldplay.com and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SomeWouldPlay. Deborah is at Sanyataki. Rico is at R1C0. Daphne is at Dafterthought, and I am Psychedelic M. If you enjoy the show, please tell your friends and share it with others. And remember, in real life, you needn't roll for initiative, so just seize it.